Folks, welcome back. I have your latest home prices and insights for York Region for week ending July 13th, 2022. Right now, the way the market is coming down, there's lots of people in positions of not closing on their transactions. It's very, very serious. This happens, well, people not closing on a transaction in normal real estate seasons can happen. Not en masse, but right now, when the market shifts as quickly as it does, there's an uptick. We see it much more often. And the last time this happened was 2017, 2018. So, personal story here. 2017, we were representing a seller. We sold their property, and on closing, market had shifted quickly, and the buyer decided, unless my client, the seller, reduces their price by $100,000, he wasn't going to close. So my seller thought, $100,000? That's nuts. The buyer didn't want to know nothing about it, was saying, no, you don't reduce it. Prices are different now. I'm not going to close. So my seller stuck to their guns and said, then I'm going to sue you. Well, the end of the story is that my client won $380,000, which included the deposit, which included the difference in sale price, which included any kind of financial suffering that my client had. Some mental anguish also was in there. $380,000 sounds like a win. Let me tell you kind of behind the scenes what was going on that everybody needs to know. It took my client 4 years to get that judgment. Now, they won many times along the way, but it was constantly appealed, and then a new court date, an appeal, and a new court date. 4 years, and my clients weren't rich. This 4 years of going to court needs to be funded. My clients had to pay the lawyers in advance to deal with all this. So you're not talking, $5,000 or $10,000. It was well over $50,000 that in legal expenses that my clients needed to fund. And again, they weren't rich. And for 4 years, my clients, the sellers, their life was basically on pause. This is all they thought about. Each time the family got together, this is all they talked about. The buyer kept fighting and fighting and ultimately lost. But the buyer's fight was over 4 years. So we're all super smart when it comes to hindsight. So here's what people going through this right now, you should really consider. I know if my seller had the option of maybe not $100,000, but maybe $50,000, reducing the price by $50,000, would they have closed, but with a $50,000 reduction? If he asked my seller now, after they won the $380,000, there's a real good chance they would have said, man, if I could have just settled for $50,000, it would have been worth it than the 4 years plus of fighting through the court system. The buyer who didn't close, didn't want to because values dropped a bit. By the time judgment was passed, that buyer had to sell his own house to be able to pay my client what the courts ordered. The value of that house now that he chose not to buy because of the $100,000 in price drop that took 4 years to go through the system was worth more than $300,000 more than when he chose not to buy it. So not only is he out $380,000, if he just would have closed and waited the 4 years, he would have had more money. Life would have been good. I'm not telling you not to close. I'm not telling you to, fight, but just understand it's not automatic. And I know a lot of you out there think that, sellers will think, yeah, I'm going to take the deposit, I'm going to go to court. It's not that easy. You need to fund this, and it's a long time. It's not automatic. And I know the buyers, yeah, if I don't close, then no problem. In time, that house is going to be worth more. I don't know how long. Is it, 6 months or is it 6 years? I don't know. But there's a lot of pain and suffering that goes into fighting in the court system. It's just something to consider. make sure you're getting really good advice before you make a life-changing financial decision like that. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. Let's get into the numbers. If you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, it's so simple. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you. The reason I ask this way I'll know ahead of time when we're going to talk. I'll make sure my schedule's organized so we can talk about whatever's on your mind with no interruptions. Let's get into the numbers here. I'm talking about York region. I'm going to be discussing Vaughan, Richmond Hill, and Markham, and then I'm going to talk about condos for all York region. So we're starting with Vaughan. This is for detached properties only. So there's no townhouses or semis mixed into these numbers. Detached properties only. Data per week for a whole year is on this chart. We sold, or when I say we, people have been asking, when I say we, I mean all sales to the Toronto Real Estate Board. So 21 detached properties were sold in Vaughan for week ending July 13th. Only 21. The previous week we sold 15. I said only 15. It's not like, we sold 21. It's not like it's a major jump. So still, 21, pretty low. 5 of those were at $2 million or more. Average sold price jumped quite a bit from the previous week to $1,711,000. Let's be careful about not making decisions just on a week basis. We need to look at the trend. That's the most important part of this. Where are prices going? What direction are they going? Well, if we look at sales, we can see sales are coming down. Look at even if you don't read the number, just look at the blue line. Sales are coming down. And average sold price. Average sold price has been coming way down and went up pretty quickly, and now it's coming down. The current average sold price of $1,711,000 is 6% higher than what it was a year ago. The previous week it was 5% lower, so we're going up and down, fighting on prices between one year to the next. Median price is 7% higher than what it was a year ago. The current median price is $1,595,000. 3 months ago, the median price was $1,873,000. So roughly speaking, 1.9, 1.6, there's a $300,000 difference in average in median price just in a 3-month period. Of the 21 that sold, 14% sold at list price or more. It's not saying a lot. When you have sales this low of 15 and 21, it's kind of hard to really make a lot of sense of these averages and percentages. But year-to-date sales, January 1st to the July 13th, this is just for Vaughan, we have 40% fewer sales this year than what we were selling last year, year-to-date by this time. And listings, 14% fewer listings this year than we had last year, year-to-date. Months of inventory did come down. It's now sitting at 3.6. But let's look at the trend. Just for this chart, we're at 1.1, but we were much lower, and now we're sitting at 3.6. Months of inventory is going up. Average days on market is now 20. Let's look at Richmond Hill. 21 detached properties were sold. It's almost double from the previous week of 11, but 21 detached properties were sold. 3 of those were at $2 million or more. Average sold price came down from the previous week. It's now at $1,719,000. Big difference from the 2.2 or so million down to 1.7 million. 1.7 is 5% higher than last year's average sold price, and median price is 3% higher than last year's median price. 1.672, $1,672,000 is the median price currently for detached properties in Richmond Hill. 3 months ago, it was 1.833, so big difference also in a matter of 3 months. Year-to-date sales, we have 38% fewer sales in Richmond Hill this year versus last year, year-to-date. And of the 21 that sold, a third, 7 of those sold at list price or more. So there's lots of properties, 2/3, that you could negotiate, put in conditions. Old traditional real estate, old school. Year-to-date listings, 20% fewer listings this year versus last year, and months of inventory came way down to 2.7. Now, I need to explain this because I don't want people thinking, oh, we're in a seller's market again. Look, months of inventory is a product of sales and active listings. And from 1 week when sales go from 11 to 21, it takes that 21 as the new norm. Well, the math formula, it takes 21 as the new norm and says, okay, so if every single week that's what's happening, well, we have 2.7 months of inventory, which is a fact. That's the months of inventory. But because of the shift, that's what's caused it to go down. I imagine over the next little while, it's going to continue to go up again and we'll say normalized. And a normal trend right now is that months of inventory is getting higher. Let's look at Markham. 24 detached properties were sold in Markham. Now 24 has pretty much been the norm over the last 4, 5, 6 weeks. 4 of those were at $2 million or more. Average sold price is $1,655,000, a little bit higher than the previous week, but way down from where we were before in the 2.2, 2.1 range. $1,655,000 is 5% lower than what it was a year ago, and median price is 10% lower than what it was a year ago. Crazy things happening in Markham. $1,489,000 is the median price. 3 months ago, it was $1,730,000. Year-to-date sales, we have 48% fewer sales in Markham this year than a year ago. And of the 24 that sold, a third, 33%, sold at list price or more. Year-to-date listings, 26% fewer listings this year than a year ago, and months of inventory is now sitting at 2 months of inventory, and average days on market is 24. Let's look at condos across York region. 39 condos were sold. 3 of those were at $1 million or more. Average sold price is $717,000 for the average condo being sold across York region. $717,000 is 14% higher than where prices were a year ago. Now, percentage-wise, condos are outperforming the detached market, percentage-wise, but it's a totally different price point. Median price is also 14% higher than where median price was a year ago. So average sold prices have been going down, but still outperforming the market year over year. Median price right now is $700,000. 3 months ago, it was $750,000. Year-to-date sales for condos, 28% fewer sales this year versus last year, and 36% sold at list price or more. Listings, 7% more listings this year, year-to-date, than what we were listing last year. And months of inventory came down a bit from the previous week, sitting at 3.1 months of inventory, and 18 is the average days on market. Here's a quick summary. Months of inventory across York region came down right across York region, basically. But, overall, the trend is months of inventory is going up, and as months of inventory go up, prices come down. It's just how it works. We're very much in it feels like a buyer's market because of the craziness that we're coming down from. We're approaching in York region, or we're in a balanced market. It depends on what's happening in the neighborhood that you're considering. Thanks for watching. If we can help with anything, please reach out. Have an awesome day.